Guys, pre, intra and post-workout nutrition, we all know how important it is for your muscle growth, for your performance in the gym, and your recovery after the workout. But there are so many theories and protocols out there, what to take it, how to take it, when to take it, right? Be it your BCAA, EAA, your creatine, glutamine, whey protein, whether it is isolate, concentrate, or your simple carbs, or your HBCD. So there's so many things out there. So in this video, I'm going to break it down to you how you should take or how you should design your intra and post workout based on the endocrine response of your body, which happens during and after the workout. So this is a purely science backed video where we will show you how you should take your pre and post workout to give you that maximum muscle growth, faster recovery, and optimal absorption of nutrition. I'm also going to break down one myth which is very common out there, which is where followed by most of the bodybuilders, where they take the simple carbs immediately after the workout. Yes, you heard it right. Do not take your simple carbs immediately after the workout, right? George Farah, in one of his seminar with Kai Green, he said that do not take the post-workout carbs immediately after the workout, and I'm going to show you why he was right. So keep watching, and we'll be back with the video. So before we get into the pre, intra or post workout shakes, let's try to quickly understand how the endocrine system works. It's a very complex system, but we are going to really focus on the muscle building part. The endocrine system is responsible for the entire regulation of hormones in the human body. Metabolism, your muscle and development, your reproduction, everything, right? But we are going to focus only on two important aspects, which is your muscle building or protein synthesis and fat loss or lipolysis, right? Because this is what you're really interested in fitness, is to build muscle and lose fat at the same time, right? So what is endocrine system, right? The endocrine system, as I said, is responsible for the regulation of hormones in the body. So इसमें आपका दो important जो organs है, those are your hypothalamus and your pituitary gland. इसको आप ये सोच सकते हैं कि these are like the brain or the CPU of the endocrine system, right? Because they control and regulates the entire secretion of hormones in the body. So inside the brain, you have the hypothalamus, जो ये blue gland है. So inside the hypothalamus, there are a lot of hormones which are secreted. But one hormone which we are specifically interested is secreted by this nucleus in the hypothalamus, which is called the arcuate nucleus. So the arcuate nucleus in the hypothalamus, it secretes a very potent hormone, which is called the growth GHRH, which is the growth hormone releasing hormone, right? So what does this GHRH does? It is secreted by the arcuate nucleus. It passes through the hypophyseal portal system, and it goes and stimulates a specific nucleus in the anterior pituitary gland, which is called the somatotrope, right? So this green cell, somatotrope, this green cell in the green nucleus in the pituitary gland is called somatotrope, which in response to this stimulus from the GHRH secretes the very important hormone, which is called the growth hormone, right? This growth hormone is what we are going to focus mostly in the entire video, right? And how does it affect your muscle building and fat loss, right? Because when you work out, आप क्या करते हैं जब आप workout करते हो, right? You are having a stimulus of growth hormone inside the body, and you should not be doing anything which basically suppresses the secretion of the GH while you're working out, and you should be doing everything which increases the stimulus of this GH and have a maximum pulse of GH in your body to be able to get that maximum benefits from your workout, right? Now there are some things which the growth hormones releasing hormone is stimulated by, right? The stimulants, let's call the stimulants, right? The stimulants which stimulates the release of GHRH, those are 5 important stimulus which which stimulates the GHRH, right? So number 1 is your high amino acids, okay? If आपके blood में amino acids का level high है, it will stimulate the secretion of GHRH, which in turn will again stimulate the GH, right? Second one is your low glucose level, which is again also known as hypoglycemia. अगर आपके blood में blood glucose level कम है, that will also trigger the stimulus of GH through the GHRH, right? The third one is fatty acids in the blood, which is also known as hypolipidemia, okay? अगर आपका fatty acids level कम है blood में, that will also trigger the release of GHRH. Exercise, this is the very strong stimulant for GHRH. When you work out, जब आप workout करते हो, not just going through the motion, you're putting the body into a really strenuous workout, good workout, it is going to give a very big stimulus for GHRH, okay? The fifth one, last but not the least, जब आप सोते हो, when you are in a deep sleep, that will also trigger the release of GHRH and into the GH, right? which in turn will lead to secretion of GH, right? So these are your 5 important stimulants. By now, आपको ये already पता लग गया होगा now, because what you should avoid in your intra and post workout so that you get a maximum pulse of GH during the workout and extend this pulse, not suppress this pulse midway, so that you get the maximum benefit out of it, right? Now once the GH is released in the body, in the bloodstream, okay, this GH takes 2 paths, okay? It will take different paths, but we are really focusing on only the part जो हमारे interest में है, right? Which is muscle building and fat loss, okay? So the GH will, when it's released in the bloodstream, इसका एक primary target organ जो होता है वो होता है liver. So it will go and act on the liver, and there are specific आपका specific receptors है liver में which will GH receptors है which the GH will go and bind onto the receptors, right? So once it binds into the receptors, it is taken into the liver, and inside the liver आपका क्या होता है कि there are different enzymes, okay? It will interact with different enzymes and then it will take different metabolic pathways, and it will go and bind to a specific gene or specific DNA inside the nucleus and will undergo transcription to create something called mRNA, okay? So it's gonna go inside the liver, act on or bind onto the specific genes and get created and undergo transcription to create an mRNA, okay? So what this mRNA will do? The mRNA will act on the ribosomes, okay? Act on the ribosomes and it will create a specific protein which is called the insulin-like growth factor type 1, okay? IGF-1. तो क्या होता है IGF-1? IGF-1 is a specific type of protein which is created from the GH in the liver and released into the bloodstream by the liver as IGF-1. ये क्या करता है IGF-1? It can trigger a pathway which will lead to a huge protein synthesis, which is what we want, right? Which is what we want, because protein is required to build muscle, to have a bigger muscle or hypertrophy. So how does it happen? So let's see. So the IGF, once it is released from the liver into the blood, it goes and acts into the muscle cells, okay? So muscle cell में आपका क्या होता है? Same, it will have specific receptors for GH, The IGF will go and bind on the GH, and then again same, it will trigger different signaling pathways. But what we are really interested in, two pathways which this IGF will trigger inside the muscle cells, right? जो पहला pathway है, it will go and interact with the specific genes in the cells of the nucleus, and it will create a pathway, which is this green pathway. What is this pathway? This will basically open up the cells for amino acids. Okay, और हमने क्या बोला था? What did we say? High amino acids in the blood will trigger release of GH, right? So this pathway will basically open up the portal system of the muscle to absorb and take all the amino acids into the muscle. So this is protein synthesis, which basically it increases, or opens up the portal to increase the uptake of amino acids. So it opens up the channels for amino acids. That's one pathway. The second pathway is, it also triggers the second pathway, which is the linking of amino acids. Okay, what is linking of amino acids? It will create another pathway where it will link up all the amino acids, and it will build up proteins. Because what is protein? Protein is amino acids are the building blocks of protein. So it will help in linking and building up your amino acids and making the muscle size bigger, right? Making the muscle size bigger. So what is this? This is hypertrophy, right? Hypertrophy means increasing the size of the muscle. So we have seen how your IGF-1 is leading to hypertrophy. Okay, and this is happening during your workout, right? So what you don't want to do is, you don't want to take something during your intra, pre or post workout which will suppress the secretion of GH while you're working out and impair your ability or diminish the ability to build a muscle size. Okay, you will build muscle, right? But scientifically, if we talk about it, having more amino acids in the bloodstream will lead to a higher muscle size than a guy who is having less level of amino acids in the blood but doing the same amount of workout as a guy compared to a guy who is not having who is having high amino acids in the blood, right? So this is how the entire system works for how the entire GH works through the creation of IGF from the liver and leading to muscle hypertrophy. Okay, so that's one aspect of GH. The second one is, obviously we want to look at the fat mobilizing property of GH. Okay, or what is this called? Lipolysis, right? What is lipolysis? Let's see how does the GH helps in lipolysis, right? So as we said, the GH takes different paths. We saw one path is liver. The another path is it can help in something which is called gluconeogenesis. क्या मतलब है gluconeogenesis का? Gluco means glucose, neo means new, genesis means generation. So gluconeogenesis is creation of glucose from non-carbohydrate sources. Yes, you hear it right. The body does create glucose from non-carbohydrate sources, right? So let's understand, and this is gluconeogenesis is basically happening through lipolysis. Okay, so let's understand how does it happen. So the GH, once it is released in the bloodstream, it will go and act on your adipose tissue, which is your fat, right? So it has specific receptors on your adipose tissue. It will go and act on that, and then what it does is it starts to break down the triglycerides it will start to cut the fat, which is the triglycerides, into two things. One is your glycerol and the other one is the fatty acids. Okay, so आपके जो triglycerides है, the GH will break down into glycerol and fatty acids. This glycerol is taken by the liver and through the process of gluconeogenesis it will create the glucose. Okay, so क्या किया liver ने आपका क्या GH गया आपके adipose tissue पे, start to cut down the triglycerides into glycerol and fatty acids, or glycerol goes back to the liver, and in the liver through the gluconeogenesis it creates glucose, right, जो आपके brain में use होगा या liver use होगा, correct. So you can still, the body is still able to create glucose sources of energy which is required by the brain to function, by the liver or other organs to function based on this process. So now we will see what and when to take your intra, post and pre-workout to have the maximum GH response during and after the workout, right? तो इंट्रा में हम लोग क्या क्या लेंगे, राइट? इंट्रा में मिनिमम, इट्स इंट्रा मीन्स इन बिटवीन द वर्कआउट, राइट? सो इसमें वी वांट द अमाइनो एसिड्स टू बी हाई. सो व्हाट आर वी गोइंग टू टेक इज EAA या BCAA. पर्सनली मैं EAA प्रेफर करता हूँ, सो यू कैन हैव EAA और BCAA. आई टेक नॉर्मली 15 grams of EAA. What we are not going to take is, for sure, we are not going to take a high glycemic index carbs because we don't want the glucose to go up. The moment we allow the glucose to go up, the GH secretion is going to go down because we know that high glucose level is a negative. It will basically suppress the GH. So we don't want any glucose source during the workout. What I suggest you can do is coconut water, the natural coconut water. Coconut water mein why we are doing is because we want to replenish the electrolytes, right? And these are very good source of electrolytes, which is your magnesium and potassium. Those are very very important electrolytes. So आप ये ले सकते हैं. I mean, I take it during my bulking phase, but अगर आप cutting में हो तो you might want to cut it down depending on how you are looking, right? Depending on how your body fat percentage is. So minimum EAA, this is more than enough. Okay, so you can also add, you know, citrulline to your intra workout. Low pre में भी ले, it doesn't matter, you can have intra or post. मैं बस I just combine both of them together and then I sip it during the workout, right? That's my intra workout. Now post workout में immediately after the workout, what we do is we remember what we need is, again, no glucose, because the moment I have carbs inside my blood is gonna bring down my GH pulse. So after the workout normally the GH pulse stays to 10 to 15 minutes, right? उससे ज़्यादा मतलब आपका GH pulse release होगा, उसके बाद it will die down, right? So it's not going to stay for long. So I want to maximize that response or the presence of GH on my body, and I don't want to cut it down. So what I will do is immediately 3 to 5 minutes after my workout, I take whey isolate. Okay, isolate मतलब इसमें carbs almost zero है. Then I take glutamine because I know this is required for my recovery and my immune system. I will also add creatine. Okay, so these three you can have it. Creatine is very very good for building muscle. So these three are my 3 to 5 minutes after the workout. I will have this as my post workout. So इसमें क्या क्या है मैंने देखो, up to the intra and post I have tried to keep my amino acids in the blood high through EAA or BCAA. Whey isolea was very well a protein. A protein is will be broken down to amino acids. Glutamine डाल दिया, creatine डाल दिया. Okay, so इस stage में I mean the muscle is still you know, you're still having the GH pulse, so you are basically elongating the pulse of the GH. अब 10-15 minute बाद the GH pulse dies out. So what I will do is after 15 minutes, within 15 to 20 minutes, Gatorade ओके, हनी के साथ, और I might take rice cakes with jam. It really depends आप क्या कर रहे हो. अगर आप ऑफ सीजन में कैलोरी सरप्लस में हो, you're trying to build muscles, put on pack on weight, you will take depending on your plan. So basically this is, I'm just giving an idea कि आप क्या कर सकते हो. Okay. Then one thing on the pre, अब pre में क्या है कि you will take that pre meal like 1 to 1.5 hours before you work out. That meal is important, because what I don't want in that meal is fatty acids in the blood, right? Because we know fats takes some time to get digested. Okay, so इसमें आपको थोड़ा सा टाइम लगेगा फैटी एसिड्स को डाइजेस्ट करने के ब्लड में. So I will avoid any fats in my pre, or not say pre, let's just say meal before workout. I will avoid having any fats. अगर आप after fourth meal workout करते हो, after third meal workout करते हो, avoid having olive oil, avocado, जो भी है, we don't avoid that. Okay, वो आप workout के मतलब बाद में like 5th और 6th में डाल सकते हो. Okay, नॉर्मल आपका मतलब carbs प्लस प्रोटीन जो भी आपका रहेगा, चिकन, वाइट राइस. बट यहाँ पे हम क्या करेंगे, what I personally prefer here for the carb source, sorry, not cross, for the carb source I will have something which is low glycemic index, जिसमें basically low glycemic index का मतलब है कि आपका ब्लड में वो ग्लूकोज स्पाइक बहुत हाई नहीं देगा. इट्स लाइक a very stable, right? So carbs में what I will have something like sweet potato. प्रोटीन में avoid salmon, right? Because that is fat. Okay. So again, I mean आपको अगर बेसिक चीज पता चल गया है कि क्या करना है, को क्या नहीं करना है, then you can obviously play around with the food sources, right? That's all for today, guys. I hope I am able to convey you the main essence of the video. So as long as you are maintaining these things and designing your intra and post workout based on this scientific evidence, I mean, this should give you good results. All right, see you in the next video. Till then, bye.